When can you kill people indiscriminately? When you're at war. That's why when we declare war, it's supposed to be done by Congress. It's supposed to be thoughtful. It's supposed to be debated. And we're not supposed to do it willy-nilly. And then when you have war, you just kill people in the war zone. And even then, there are rules of engagement.
Rand Paul is making a fatal mistake. He's telling you the truth about things that are important, and especially if you tell the truth about war, you're a goner, okay? So the corporate media is not going to tell you the truth about war. The Trump administration isn't going to tell you the truth about war. The Biden administration, Obama, Hillary, no one's going to tell you the truth about war. Rand Paul is, and he's making a mistake because let's remember Donald Trump is he's going to overthrow Venezuela. And the way they do it is they put sanctions on them. They try to wreck their economy. So people are, then they come in and they bring CIA money in and they give it to people and they go, overthrow the government. Here's some guns. Here's some weapons. Here's a lot of money. Overthrow the government. Then they install a puppet, and then the puppet turns over all their natural resources to the economic hitmen in the United States. And I know this is why Donald Trump is doing this with Venezuela, even though he's lying and saying it's about drugs, because that's a lie. Remember this? That says Trump says he's going to do land strikes. So he's not only is he bombing boats off of Venezuela, they're now going to start bombing inside Venezuela. Of course, they're going to bomb the land because that's where Venezuela keeps their oil. They don't keep it in the air. So if you think I'm lying, here's Donald Trump when he was running for president telling you exactly why he cares about Venezuela.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
And so that's what they're doing now. He tried it in his first administration. He tried to overthrow and install Juan Guaido, the puppet, and it didn't work because the people of Venezuela don't like Juan Guaido. In fact, they attack him every time he walks around in public in Venezuela. And now he's president again, and he's trying to do it again. And here's Rand Paul to tell you that they shouldn't be doing it. Here's Rand Paul. He exposes Trump's Venezuela false flag. Here it is.
Let's start somewhere where I think the two of you agree, and that's on some of the last bit of what Lucas was reporting on there about those strikes out in the sea. The president says there's going to be more information and briefing coming to Capitol Hill. Here's what he said Thursday.
The land is going to be next, and we may go to the Senate, we may go to the Congress and tell them about it. But I can't imagine they'd have any problem with it. I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics.
All right, so I'll start with you, Senator Paul. What do you need to hear?
So apparently Senator Rand Paul's a far-left lunatic now because he's going to tell you the truth about war. So that's what they always do, right? So if you tell the truth about war, they have to discredit you, slander you, and say you're a wingnut and a conspiracy theorist, you're far left, you're far right. Here's a fastball down the middle Republican, Rand Paul, and here's what he says.
You're in a briefing. What questions do you have?
It's not so much about a briefing, but we haven't had a briefing. To be clear, we've got no information. I've been invited to no briefing. But a briefing is not enough to overcome the Constitution. The Constitution says that when you go to war, Congress has to vote on it. And during a war, then, there's a lower rules for engagement. People do sometimes get killed without due process. But the drug war or the crime war has typically been something we do through law enforcement. And so far, they have alleged that these people are drug dealers. No one said their name. No one said what evidence. No one said whether they're armed. And we've had no evidence presented. So at this point, I would call them extrajudicial killings. And this is akin to what China does, to Iran does with drug dealers. They summarily execute people without presenting evidence to the public. So it's wrong.
Boy, that's one guy who'll never be president. Here he is again, proving you that he'll never be president. We don't blow up boats off Miami because 25% of the time, suspicion is wrong. Here he is to lay it down.
We have dangerous people in a lot of American cities, but we just don't go in and shoot them. I mean, we have trials, they get legal representation. And even on the high seas, it's been that way for generations.
So just in case you aren't up to speed on the story, Trump has been bombing fishing boats off of Venezuela and claiming he's fighting narco-terrorists. And he's letting us know that this is not how you fight narco-terrorists, unless you're China. This is not how we do it.
I bet China does a better job.
Yeah. And he's letting you know this is not constitutional. This is against everything we stand for as Americans. And there's a proper way to deal with. If you think someone's shipping narcotics, you're supposed to handle that. You're not supposed to just kill them without a trial. So he keeps going.
If you go off the coast of Miami, the Coast Guard will be stopping boats today, and about 25% of the boats that they stop, that they're suspicious of drugs, there won't be any drugs on board. So 25% of the time the suspicion is wrong, and that's why we don't shoot and just blow up boats off of Miami, but neither should we be blowing them up off the coast of Venezuela. Number one, there is no fentanyl made in Venezuela. Not just a little bit, there's none being made in Venezuela.
Fentanyl.
These are outboard boats that, in order for them to get to Miami, would have to stop and refuel 20 times. They're in all likely going to Trinidad and Tobago, which is an island right off of the coast of Venezuela. So there's a lot of reasons to be worried about this. But number one is the broader principle of when can you kill people indiscriminately? When you're at war. That's why when we declare war, it's supposed to be done by Congress. It's supposed to be thoughtful. It's supposed to be debated. And we're not supposed to do it willy-nilly. And then when you have war, you just kill people in the war zone. And even then there are rules of engagement. But interdicting drugs has always been a criminal activity and a criminal anti-crime sort of activity where we don't just summarily execute people. We actually present evidence and convict them.
So he'll never be president telling the truth about war and what we're doing illegally, slaughtering people in fishing boats because we want to overthrow Venezuela and take their oil and they have lots of other stuff. They have minerals and things that we need. By the way, so this proves it that this isn't about getting rid of drug traffickers. So Ecuador rejects prosecution. And so the United States, Donald Trump ordered them to strike this vessel off the coast of Venezuela. They did. 2 people survived. So you would think the United States would then immediately sweep them up and prosecute them, put them in Guantanamo Bay and give them a trial because we know they're narco-terrorists, right? Well, they didn't. They turned them over to Ecuador, and Ecuador says, we're not prosecuting these guys. What are you talking about? So they just let them go. So what does that tell you? That tells you that Donald Trump knows they're not narco-terrorists and that they don't want to prosecute them and they don't want to have a trial because if they had a trial, it would come out that they were lying. Who's lying? Donald Trump and the administration.
Jimmy, when they catch a real cartel guy, they crow about it nonstop. And they make endless documentaries about how bad they got the bad man. We don't even know the names of any of these people they killed. So what does that tell you?
Prosecutors in Ecuador decided not to charge a man who survived a U.S. military attack in the Caribbean Sea last week and have already released him. There you go. Really? Those guys are such crazy narco-terrorists threatening America that Donald Trump just releases them. Oh, we tried to kill him. We couldn't, but now we'll just let him go. Really?
Fair's fair.
So
Good game, guys.
Just to let you know, these are all the countries that we've overthrown in South America. You ready? In Central and South America. Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Grenada, Venezuela in 2002 and 2019, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina, Chile, Bolivia, Peru, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala, and of course, Cuba and Haiti. Freedom and democracy. That's what that is. If you need a video about it, here's a video.
Here's every South American country which has had its government overthrown by the CIA since 1947. Costa Rica in 1948. Guatemala, 1954, El Salvador, 1979, Nicaragua, 1981, Panama, 1989, Paraguay, 1954, Brazil, 1964, Peru, 1968, Chile, 1973, Uruguay, 1973, Argentina, 1976, and Venezuela in 2002.
So, Donald Trump, no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. So there's some people who like Donald Trump who are cool with him doing the exact opposite thing that he said he was going to do when he ran for president, which was end the foreign wars, stop the regime change. Remember where Tulsi Gabbard in 2019 said Donald Trump is illegally violating the Constitution by trying to overthrow another sovereign country, meaning Venezuela. It's another regime change war, which is what Tulsi Gabbard was all about in 2019 when she was running for president. We need to stop our regime change wars.
Well, we don't win, by the way. I just want to point out, again, we're not going to win in Venezuela. we 100% are not going to win. We haven't won a war since the military-industrial complex was created.
Well, we've been able to overthrow people and install puppets. We have been able to do that. We haven't been able to overthrow Cuba, but we've tried millions of times. They tried to kill Fidel Castro like 135 times. Did you know that? And they failed every time.
Well, I'm talking about Trump's doing a war. He's going to send a land attacks. We're going to go to war, not skullduggery,
right?
Which I guess works a little bit. The thing where you use our troops and the best of the best to go in there and change. I've never seen it work ever.
I agree. We'll see what happens. I mean, they were able to get rid of Gaddafi and turn it into a failed state with open slave markets. They were able to get rid of Saddam Hussein and turn it into another failed state, which actually was the greatest gift we could give to Iran, because Iraq kept Iran in check. Now that's over.
It's not a win.
They were able to it's not. They were able to get rid of the Assad in Syria and install the head of Al-Qaeda as the president of Syria. Is that a win for the United States?
Founding member of ISIS.
The founding member of ISIS, Syria, Al-Qaeda, is now the president of Syria.
And two great groups.
And now Donald Trump is not only did he bomb Iran already in his presidency, not only did he bomb Yemen, he did that at the behest of Israel, both those places. Now he's bombing Venezuela.
Well, not all oligarchs are Jewish, Jimmy. There's other concerns in this world for oligarchs, He's got to give some attention to other people.
If you want to hear my jokes about this, we have added second shows in Australia. We've added a show in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving, November 28th. It's a Friday. Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th, and January 11th in Waikiki, Hawaii. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Come see us in Australia. Second show's added in Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. We'll see you in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. It's a Friday. And then Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Plus, January 11th, we're going to be in Waikiki at the Blue Note. Tickets not available yet for them, but go to jimmydore.com for a link for all the other tickets.